Hey everyone, it's me and Buster Green, checking in with your update today on this week's Tokusatsu news. Starting with a lighter, happier story. Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider has been immediately renewed for a second season, which is crazy because we're all still waiting for season 2 of Fudo PI, and that's been taking like 3 years now. But hey, I'm loving this show, so I'm really excited to see if they get any deeper into the crazy world that it takes place in and the crazy implication of the fact that Shocker actually exists in the real world. Also, this week's episode was perfection. Tackle 2 is maybe one of the craziest heroines I've ever seen depicted in media, and I promise I will get back to reviewing the show whenever my schedule stops being insane, but I will say this is probably my favorite anime of the year for entirely personal reasons. Speaking of Kamen Rider, let's go cover Kamen Rider Zets real fast. I'm so thankful that Zets is getting simul-streamed in the US. I think it's the best Rider show in decades, and I also love the fact that we've now reached the big confrontation with Zets and Nox Knight, and for me personally, I feel like that's a back-to-basics, like Showa Black Sun versus Shadow Moon kind of fight. Also, we're wondering to figure out, is the motorcycle dad evil? Is it a Kamen Rider with an evil motorcycle? Well, that's a twist. Alright, I'll come back to reviewing Zets at the end of this video with spoilers if you still care. Stay tuned. Our main story this week is still Gojuuger and the ongoing Mayagate scandal. Nothing too crazy this week, but definitely we're seeing some like aftershocks this week. So what we're going over today is Gojuuger 41, which unfortunately has some pretty weak editing in terms of replacing Maya with Kohaku, and that's the main story today.
この番組は予覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
So while it's pretty a spectacular flex that Gojuuger managed to swap in Kohaku over Maya Imamori for these last 10 episodes of the show in a last-second switch-out, this week was kind of a rush job where what they changed was sadly a lot more apparent. If you didn't see episode 41, it was mostly a big plot about a creepy monster called Creation No One, who had the power of creation, and we also got some showcase of the show's final big bad, Tegajun, who's like an evil Tegasword robot, if I'm following the plot correctly. I'm kind of watching Gojuuger massively out of order due to the whole scandal thing and me like coming into the show late. I'm currently trying to binge the early episodes to catch up, and I'm lightly skimming the recent ones, so I'm not too spoilers, but I'm like caught up to date on like what's going on with the drama here. Anyway, the first aspect of Mayagate was that this episode pretty sadly has some very weak composite editing in terms of how they replaced Maya with Kohaku. There's a couple of big editing red flags, like for example, this shot where Kohaku's leg seemingly goes beyond the frame of the picture. Like if you like really zoom in, you can see like somehow like her leg is like beyond the pixels. Then there's also the fact that whenever anyone mentions Sumino, they will just cut to her off screen doing her own activity in her own like little world. And that's kind of funny, but it's glaringly obvious what they did. Then this is something that stood out to me in the group scenes, like right here, like right to the left of me, you can see a noticeable difference in quality between Kohaku and the people who were actually on set that day. Like, I don't know what it is, but she's like too lightly lit, or like even like the low quality shots from like my bootleg copy, she looks so completely wrong lighting wise. And I'm not sure if that is just better or worse, but it looks bad. Like this scene really got to me with the bad compositing. It just like screams that like she's some kind of paper cutout they stuck in here. And anyway, then there's the sandcastle thing. So if you didn't see the episode, they have this like sandcastle battle, and during the battle, like Creation No One challenges the Gojuugers to a sandcastle contest. And first the Gojuugers like make a JPEG of the Taj Mahal painted brown, and it's silly and cheap and it's whatever. But then meanwhile, the Creation No One like counters them by making a Cinderella Disney World castle entirely made out of sand with a working front door. This ended up being called out by the internet on the basis that like you can take one look at this Cinderella castle and you can tell that it's totally AI. Now, as you might have known from a lot of my recent videos, I recently got licensed in certifying and spotting crappy AI. So yeah, I have an official AI debunking license. I'm certified in debunking AI. So I'm going to debunk this AI now to use that stupid license. Let's try to break this down. So a lot of people are crying that the sandcastle is AI because it looks too much like the one at Disneyland. It also has flags made of sand, which really make no sense. You can't make a flag out of sand. And there's a few details, especially near the top, where it has that like trademark uncanny AI meltiness where you can kind of like see it like melting in a weird way. So yeah, when I run this through your standard AI Detectomatic, this rings the alarm bell for AI about 90%. I'm going to say personally it looks like flux diffusion, but the detector is doubting that for some reason. I want to say the detector is probably being thrown off because this is an AI image composited over a film reel. But yeah, just doing a quick Google search for some AI flux sandcastles or castles in general will give you just about the same castle. So like side by side, that looks pretty bad. Another interesting claim for sure from Big Max on Twitter is that they also had a super interesting take here that this was no doubt from them being on low budget due to the whole reshoot fiasco, but there's no way it could have been that hard to just find a real sandcastle and edit it in. Well, that is kind of the $1 million question here, isn't it? Thinking it over. Like, the thing is, like, I'm going to actually side against Max here and give Toei, I don't know, credit or maybe sympathy. But I think Toei did struggle to find a non-AI sandcastle. Or maybe they just didn't put in enough effort because when I tried to do the same thing, when I tried to look for like a stock photo of a sandcastle, when I searched on most publicly used image licensed websites, searching for sandcastles nowadays will give you a 50-50 split between the AI generated ones and the normal ones, except the problem is that the normal ones really don't look fancy. They all look like low effort bucket castles made by a 5-year-old. So I can kind of see that from the directing point of view that they wanted something spectacular. They wanted something that was like better than a Taj Mahal painted sand colored. So maybe that's why the editor at Toei went with the AI generated Disney castle. But yeah, this is totally an AI generated Disney castle. I think it does kind of step us back to a larger problem that we're seeing happening every day. That with AI bros generating like over 500 slop AI images a day and videos and whatever, I think that's all like corrupting the internet slowly as every day all that crap is getting stored online permanently and there's more and more of it. As the situation keeps going on every day, it's becoming harder and harder to find any kind of real reality on the internet, especially as people, let's face it, are fucking broke nowadays due to AI fucking up the economy globally and choosing cheap AI alternatives over the real thing when it comes down to the wire to save a buck or two. Like even doing a simple Google search for a panda will result in you seeing a variety of panda images, but not all of them are real. Like there's this big Chungus panda that's got to be AI because he's got the proportions of a toy or a man in a suit. Anyway, so that's Gojuuger 41 in a nutshell. Kohaku is badly edited into the show, and there's a sad AI sandcastle because if you search for a sandcastle on the internet today, it's really hard to find a sandcastle that's not an AI-generated piece of crap nowadays. I hate AI for making the world a worse place, but I am worried that as AI keeps getting more and more prevalent, and there keeps getting more of it kind of everywhere, people are going to become lazier, people are going to become unskilled, and all this like AI deepfakery is going to like mess with people's minds. Yeah, anyway, I hate AI for making the world a worse place, but yeah, I'm just worried about like the way AI keeps making everyone lazier, everyone more evil, everyone more corrupt, and just like every day it's like harder to find like authenticity and like integrity in the world. All right, lastly, quickly catching up on Zets for spoilers as a final story here. Zets was super crazy this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, but like we had a crazy lowest of the low moments where Zets lost all his powers, then ultimately got like killed by a double team up of like Nox Knight and like this moon-sized Kaijin. Now, there's a bigger mystery ongoing with the mysterious robot Zero, who's either carrying out some kind of cruel program to save the world with like zero empathy, or maybe he's just like flat out evil. Either way, like I'm really enjoying the show, and I'm really psyched up for the next episode where Zets is shown to be alive again next week. I gotta say, Zets is the best live action rider we've had in years, and I'm loving Nem's weird Space Girl outfit in this arc. I can't help but laugh every time I see that. It's like, what the fuck is she wearing? It's like somehow 80s, but futuristic, and I kind of love it. Yeah, Zets is going nuts, right? I love Zets. It's definitely the best rider show, in my opinion, since W. Like, I haven't enjoyed a rider show this much since W. I'm really happy with it.